$62.99 QC Kinetics.
Isn't this a sports show?
I've been a Chiefs fan now, and I've for my entire short life, and I haven't seen any quarterbacks that are out here ready to go rock a jeans commercial. I want Patrick Mahomes to have the ability to go absolutely crush a commercial selling denim.
Almost entirely.
What are they going to do with his voice? It's Pat Mahomes with Lee Jeans here.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Well, now we talk to a man who can almost certainly say Pro Football Focus 3 times fast. Kent Swanson, actually, can you prove it?
Pro Football Focus. I can't do it. No.
Take the show with you by listening on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app at 810WHB.com or by searching for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
Here's the video, Kent. Let's just go ahead and hang out.
You're
here.
gonna make me watch this?
Yeah, 100%. It's amazing. You're gonna get some of the precursor here. She gets really mad, and then she takes her jacket off that's tied around her waist, and then drops trowel, leans up against it. You gotta watch, Kent. You gotta watch. Oh. She pooped on the floor, and then he picked it up and threw it at him.
This is Almost Entirely Sports on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
That intro means you're not too far away from our weekly chat with our friend Kent Swanson, but you are 0 moments away from the beginning of the latest edition of Almost Entirely Sports. It's here. It's now. It's happening. It's a little later than usual, so thanks for being with us. If you're here live, or maybe you're in the future listening on the podcast, or however you found Almost Entirely Sports tonight, we're just glad that you're here with us. I'm Joshua Brisco. Rudy Salazar on the other side of the glass, moving monitors and plugging things together and flinging his headphones and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I think it was working fine, but we just got a new monitor, and so the left computer monitor is just bigger.
I see.
Than the other one was, and so now it's just everything doesn't quite fit right.
But you got a little more screen real estate now.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's good though.
We'll figure it out.
Because it's because the
Is your camera about to fall off the top of the desk?
No,
the camera move?
It had to move because there's just not enough space.
It has moved some though, right?
Yes. But it's not about it. There's like another 80% of its space is on the.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
This is just something that we were talking about earlier that occasionally comes up or just around here, and this also happens at home for me. I don't know. I would be curious to know which side of this more people are aligned to in terms of, like, are you very likely to notice a minute change in something like a camera being moved by like 2 inches or like, I don't know, just something.
Me shrinking millimeter at a time because my chair won't
Rudy's
stay
chair
up.
sinking. Yeah. No, I mean, like, are you more likely to notice if there is a chair in a different space when you get home? Let's assume you don't live alone, because if you got home and you had a whole restructuring, you might look around and go, oh, that's not supposed to be happening. So, sorry, Rudy was also, I was just making sure Rudy saw that there was a bat signal up there. How are things going?
I'll be back.
Oh, good. No one can hear us right now? Good. Well, the podcast still can, and the Twitch stream still probably can. I could curse right now if I wanted to, and the FCC wouldn't even know about it. That's exciting. This is I feel good right now in this space where I'm just talking to the internet. Allegedly, theoretically, I could just drop a whole series of F-bombs and there'd be no FCC violations.
Well, now there will be because we're back on air.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're just joining us over the air right now, we were not over the air for a minute. We're back now. In the meantime, I said a bunch of really funny, really insightful, and really profane stuff just for the period of time that I knew we weren't broadcast over the air. So, buttoned back up now. No more cursing. I didn't do any cursing when we were off air either. I just thought it would be a funny bit. If we had been off air for longer, I might have gotten a little more. I might have tested it. You can just say whatever you want after 9 p.m. I think that's the rule. No, I think that's also not true. But if you've noticed, yes, we are following a barn burner of Celtics and Bucks tonight. But we're still not going to just go off at 10. We're going to give you a full couple hours here tonight of AES. So Kent Swanson will join us in a little less than an hour. And we'll be here in the meantime for an hour before that. We'll talk some Chiefs, certainly, with Kent. We have some rookie minicamp audio. We'll see what we end up getting to over the course of the show. There is the sort of national story of the moment, and then a pretty locally oriented one here currently. In the state of Kansas that I think is pretty interesting. So as we speak right now, it has still not been signed into law, but Governor Laura Kelly, who I just remembered I told a really funny story about 2 years ago probably on this show. I just had just a funny, awkward interaction with her. She seems like a nice lady who just had a funny, awkward interaction. I don't have a better way of describing it than that. But anyway, she is the governor of the state of Kansas, and she is expected to sign into law very shortly the bill that will legalize sports gambling in the state of Kansas. Huzzah! I'm in the state of Kansas right now. Now, I also, we haven't talked about this on air. I've put it on social media now, though, so I feel like I can talk about the fact that I am now not just living in Missouri, not just resident of Missouri. I'm a homeowner in Missouri. I don't know why that was the accent that I adopted just then, but that was fun. Well, I will have some house stories, I promise. There's just some funny things happening right now, but I will not be sidetracked by it absolutely right out of the gate. But I live on the Missouri side, working here on the Kansas side. I am a little bit of two minds on this because on one hand, what are you doing, Missouri? Why is everything so hard with you? Why can't, in the words of that one meme, why can't you just be normal, Missouri? But on the Kansas side, some bleep got done. There are a few things that you probably ought to know, and then also a couple of things that I do have my questions about. But the gist of it here is that Kansas is very shortly expected to become the 34th state with legalized sports betting. Pretty much smack dab in the middle. I mean, a little late to the party. Not 25 out of 50, but 34 out of 50. Close enough. Missouri's gonna wait until at least the late 40s. Maybe just wait to be 50 altogether. I don't know. Missouri loves dragging its feet on stuff. Shout out to our local legislature. We would all like it if you would just do this thing, Missouri. Anyway, The back and forth on the Kansas side, even now as it is moving on, is sort of funny. I was going through, I'll reference a couple pieces of information via a story in the Topeka Capital Journal online, cjonline.com. Just lots of places have good stories on it. I was just reading this one earlier. So stats and stuff that I'll mention will be courtesy of them. But there are also like the arguments from, I'd like to name this person because I think this is just a pretty, I do not know State Senator Virgil Peck from anybody. I do not know this person, but I do believe that this is not a smart argument. Senator Virgil Peck of Havana compared the bill to a, quote, Twilight Zone episode where a couple was offered the chance to receive $10,000 while killing a stranger in the process. This is me quoting Capital Journal. Here is Senator Peck. Someone we do not know, their life will be destroyed if we pass this legislation, Peck said. Now look, it is absolutely important to note that gambling absolutely is bad for some people. You can make some sort of argument, I'm sure, that there is bad stuff within the entire gambling experience for everybody. Look, there is something that is it can get away from me quickly about gambling in general, because you put down a little money because you think you know something, then that money goes away, and then you go, oh, this sucks. I would hate to walk away having lost $50 or $100. Theoretically, it could be more than that, but now I start thinking about betting more than literally $25 on anything, and I want to barf.
Less.
Yeah,
$5.
I would say that if I had, placed any sports wagers in the past, obviously I haven't because it wasn't legal in either state I'm referring to, and I've never been to Vegas. So obviously I've never done that.
You've been naked in Vegas.
Wow, you're right. Sorry. I haven't not gone through the Vegas experience other than being half naked in the Las Vegas airport bathroom.
Sounds like the Vegas experience to me.
Fair enough. But if I was intrigued by the concept of sports gambling, which on the Kansas, as I say on the Kansas side, I'll tell you, I am. I think I am a $5 or $10 bet person, and maybe we work our way up to 25 if I'm feeling frisky. More than that feels like too much to me, but that's for me. Whatever. The point I want to make on the front end is every one of these gambling ads and apps and everything you will find has the hotline, that what you do if you become addicted to gambling, have a gambling problem. Those things are there for a reason. We should not take that lightly. I do not want to take that part of this lightly. What I will say to Senator Peck is that people have been, maybe some people in this building right now, maybe some of them even hosting a radio show.
I don't gamble in Missouri.
Maybe some
I don't
people
even live in Missouri, Josh.
Maybe some people in this room have discovered that you can, in fact, bet wagers on sporting events on the internet.
Dick Justice? Oh.
Now, again, I've not yet Googled this person, but I do think that if your first name is Virgil, I assume you're 85. We're not making young Virgils anymore, right?
I mean, they got to start somewhere.
Virgil Abloh was the only other Virgil that I could think of, and he has...
Isn't Virgil Green a tight end?
Ooh,
or was a tight end in the NFL?
that's a
I
good...
don't know if he's still in the league or not. But...
No, you're right. It's pretty on brand that I thought of Virgil Abloh before I thought of Virgil Green, but you're absolutely right. There was a tight end Virgil. Anyway, not a lot of Virgils, I would say. But that argument of if we sign this into law, someone random that we don't know is going to die, maybe make it more accessible has its concerns. Again, I do understand that. I say all of that on the front end for me to begin and then continue talking about this in a very fun way from here on out. This feels to me like maybe the mandatory disclaimer, because again, it's not sports gambling or gambling in general is not good for everyone. In fact, you could argue it is ungood for many people. I hear that. I get it. I do. But it's obviously something that people should be allowed to do. Right? Like, we trust people to do a lot of things in moderation or at their own speed, just being a human being. And this is a really weird place to me. This has always been a very strange place to draw that line. Maybe it's the alcohol weed thing, because Chaotic Warrior on Twitch said Kansas has gambling, not weed. Missouri has weed, but not gambling. I don't know why those are ever divergent from each other. I don't know why weed and alcohol are ever considered to be amongst different categories of substance. But there are those cognitive dissonance things that maybe end up being some sort of morality play for some people. Maybe it's a political play for some people. I don't know. That's never made sense to me. This very much to me feels like something that, of course, you should be able to gamble on sports in Kansas and Missouri.
The problem with all this is, right, and it's generally like this everywhere, where I'll use Kentucky as an example because, like, I lived there, right? They were when I was there, they were trying to build a casino in the state of Kentucky because at the time there were no, which I'm not 100% for sure if there is a casino in Kentucky now. I feel like they might have agreed to build one. No, they didn't agree to build. They compromised on putting slot machines in the horse tracks. Again, the reason why they stood behind this, hey, think about our kids, right?
Right.
Having casinos, gambling's bad, even though we literally bet on horse races. The reality is it had nothing to do with...
As like a point of pride for the state, by the way.
It had obviously nothing to do with that. It's the horse tracks did not want people going to casinos.
Right.
They wanted people going to them, right? Like they have lobbyists who deal with politicians, right? And that's just kind of how this stuff works. The reality is the reason why we don't have gambling in Kansas sooner, and the reason why it doesn't seem like it's going to be in Missouri now, is they just essentially, right? Like the evidence of this is an educated guess. I guess I should say, right? You're
extrapolating.
Yes, it is more about a fight over who gets to control it.
Yes.
Who's going to get the money.
Yes.
Versus, think about the children. We hide behind that, right?
Yes.
That's what politicians hide behind generally. It's usually more about other interests in play that prevent these things from actually happening, right? Very often we, the people, fall for the smoke screen, when in reality it is has nothing to do with that.
And also, we, the people, end up being the ones that pay the price for it because, again, we're not at a place where there is moral outrage throughout this country about marijuana or sports gambling, but it's think of the kids, when, again, in reality, it's, well, we want to legislate who's going to be able to profit off this the most.
And we kind of talked about this off the air before the show started, but it's just kind of like now clicked in my head. It's kind of funny that, again, the state of Kansas maybe all of a sudden sped this process up.
Because Mark Donovan lied.
Yes. Because we're in a spot now where there might be teams moving relatively soon, and you start that process, now, and where's some of that tax money from the sports gambling going to?
First of all, I'm going to say I don't know that Mark Donovan lied.
No,
okay, that was artificially harsh. Mark Donovan and Clark Hunt and the Kansas City Chiefs are trying to pit their two states side by side against each other to see which one of them will give the billionaire more money to do some home renovations. It's not lying. It is fundamentally deceitful and perhaps immoral.
Hey, to be fair, it's not that Clark doesn't have the money. He just it's a banking thing, right? Like he moves some money into this account.
Yeah, and won't be out of that one account until 2029.
And like he just doesn't have access to it. Like for some people, you have to wait like 3 business days to access like your paycheck.
Could you just
when you're a
Clark like $10?
It's like 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So like he's not lying. It's just it's an accounting thing, basically.
So here's the thing. We will revisit that now. Just again, to quote from this article from the Topeka Capital Journal, a majority of revenue would be funneled into the, quote, Attracting Professional Sports to Kansas Fund, an apparent attempt to capitalize on recent rumors that the Kansas City Chiefs would entertain moving their stadium across the border from Missouri. The bill was tweaked at the last minute to place the fund under the purview of the Department of Commerce, though legislators could elect to spend the money elsewhere if they chose. A couple of things, and also there's an acknowledgement in the story that this fund would not be enough to fully lure the Chiefs over, but that it would sort of maybe start that going. They want to put it out at Legends and boost up that area. A few things. So, one is that every economic study on the economic impact of a pro sports team being in a particular state, city, area, I think universally at this point has come back showing, one of the quotes that I'll have to paraphrase now, last time we talked about this, was that it would be more economically beneficial to fly an airplane over a city and then just throw that money out the window and give it to the people that they can then spend in places rather than to give it to a billionaire to build a stadium. In terms of economic impact of having a stadium in that city.
Know a guy who actually did that once. One of my dad's old bosses, he spent I forget exactly why he spent some time in jail, but like one of the first things he did get out, he started a business basically making ashtrays for the airplanes. So this back in the 70s, right?
Probably did not last into the 2020s.
And they were literally like just throwing those things away left and right. Flight gets over, you throw them all away. So like they were just cycling through those things, right? One of the first things he did is went back to his hometown in a helicopter and chucked a bag of money out of it. Kind of like as you guys said I wouldn't be anything. Now look at me, I'm throwing money out of
You're picking my money up off the ground.
Helicopter.
Wow, that is a huge baller
power
move.
play.
Wow, it really is.
He was a great guy.
That's kind of awesome.
He would have these Christmas parties where all the kids would gather around and he would have the big trash cans.
Give each of them a pack of cigarettes.
Like the big trash cans like what we have in our break room.
Sure.
And they're just full of dollar bills. But the dollar bills, some are just dollar bills.
Right.
Some have 100 written on them. Some have like 10, 5, whatever.
Wow.
And you just get to pull 10 bills out, and whatever it adds up to, that's what you get. And if for some reason you pulled out like 10 ones, then you got like you know what I mean? Like you were actually
you got like a bonus
got a
of
big
some
bonus.
sort.
Yeah, it was like because like he wasn't gonna punish any kid for I'm sorry kid, you only got $10. Like because he was just like trying to. He was a good guy.
And then at the end, whatever money was still left in that trash can, he just lit a match and threw it in there.
No, he was
just
a nice
said,
guy.
"Witness me." That's really good. So here's the thing on what's going on here on the Kansas side. One, I'm just going to tell you, like, from I was going to say politically, but that's not really what I mean, because that usually ends up making people think about, like, a presidential debate. I'm going to say, like, economically, socially, running a state-wise, I would say it kind of bugs me that you would finally let your citizens start betting on sports and then take your cut. That's fine. but then you're going to mandate that ends up going into a fund for a fairy tale that could actually come true. But like, it is sort of, you're taking this money and you're going to put it in a position to where you're asking Santa for a sports team and telling him that you're ready to make the down payment for their stadium. Personally, I find myself getting a little bit hung up on that, because whatever tax money the state would be able to generate off of this, you could make this about Missouri in the future, but apparently Missouri is going to drag its feet for a while, and we can talk about that in a second as well. But I would say legalize it, tax it, spend that money on things that we could all benefit from now. And maybe I've got sort of a Pollyanna view of local government. Like, if you're yelling at your radio right now, going like, well, that just doesn't happen very often. I get it. I'm just still telling you what I would prefer to have happen here, which is that this is invested in meaningful programs in a meaningful way, and not going into not going into a fund under the purview of the Department of Commerce, which, again, apparently if you later could elect to spend that money elsewhere, it could go elsewhere. Imagine after you would wave the white flag that you're not getting a stadium or team built in Kansas, perhaps. I would rather see that money not be labeled for how it can be used, in hopes that it would be used better. I understand that there is a lot of unhelpful governmental spending. Maybe I'm an idealist, but I'm not an idiot. Like, I get it. But that to me is a bit silly, especially if it doesn't land that way. Then you're just sort of figuring out what you want to do that money after the fact. Whatever. Kansas is still like winning this conversation by 1,000 miles, because they have even elected to literally play this game. And then the forms it will take of maybe you're able to place bets in Children's Mercy Park, or at Kansas Speedway, or on your phone, or in a Quick Trip. Like, there are a lot of different evolutions this could take, and frankly, I don't know that we're going to end up getting all the necessary information until things start actually rolling and maybe some boundaries get tested and we see what happens. I think we should be able to bet on the Royals to lose from our phones. Like, I think that's that's my inalienable right.
Feels like easy money. Like, that might be, a law might come out just like, hey, you're not allowed to bet on Royals games because it's easy money.
I think I'm leading with my frustrations with Kansas, which is silly. It probably should be a reaction of celebration, particularly as someone who lives in Missouri, who has pretty much given up hope on them actually following suit here. I'll make it over to this Kansas side plenty. Pretty much every day. I'm over here. I can make my magic happen on this side of the state line. That's fine. Kansas can also take my money while I'm here. Missouri will just have its usual taxes.
If you are, I guess I don't know this for a fact, but I would just kind of assume that Kansas having this can only speed up the process. Maybe Missouri, right? Like, eventually you get to the point where, I guess in theory, where Missouri just like they actually see the tangible benefits, and it's just like, hey, we need to make this happen too. Don't know if that will be the case, but like, if you want to look at a glass half full type of situation.
Well, and so again, from this same story, Missouri lawmakers appear unlikely to legalize the practice after initially appearing to be drawing near to a deal on their own sports betting framework. Maybe that will eventually come around. I don't know. I just have very little faith in will of the people, common sense legislation.
Why is that, Josh?
Funny you should ask. It's that I've been paying attention to things now for a little while.
Ever?
Just for any amount of time. And that's not really how things work.
Just at any random second of any random day?
Just literally ever. Just turn on a television or open Twitter ever, and you go, you know what? I'm not sure that all these people are acting in the best interest of their constituents. So I would love for Missouri to come back around. Frankly, and again, I'm not on the Kansas side. I don't live on the Kansas side. Kansas should stop dragging its feet on marijuana. Everybody's got some stuff to pick up here. That's easy stuff. Sports betting and weed are like two legitimately bipartisan issues from a state and like federal standpoint, and we are still here in 2022 talking about how Missouri is drifting away from legalizing sports betting, and in Kansas, weed will get you locked up. I don't know why we're here. I've never been on a ballot. Wouldn't matter if I was, I don't think. This is why I'm once again announcing my campaign for whatever I was campaigning for when I made that joke last time.
Entirely a politician.
Almost entirely the state senate. But again, like,
I would argue that's what you're doing right now.
Also, a good point here from Ice Pyro. Meanwhile, me in Texas ain't getting bleep. So fair enough. Maybe I should say that Missouri and Kansas combined have one functional logic. Just you have to kind of slice and dice it from one to the other.
Hey, it's close enough, right? We can drive back and forth if
right.
you're in Kansas City, right? So we're just you got Kansas can have this, Missouri can have this. It's a symbiotic relationship. I'm Venom, you're Tom Hardy. We need each other to survive here.
There's about to be. I'm glad. Thank you, Rudy, because this felt like it was serious at this point, not going anywhere. Let's envision the future, okay? Hey, Kansas and Missouri, listen up. I got some issues with both of you, but you also both got some stuff I think's not so bad. I like it here, but if the legislating isn't going to actually make progress, here's my recommendation. Just block off like a 2-mile wide strip right down state line. One side is just and also Missouri, go ahead and keep pushing the marijuana thing. Having it be available medically is awesome, and I'm glad you guys did that. You're doing great work. Why don't you go ahead and pop off that little limitation on it? Why don't we just let everybody? I can buy cigarettes at a gas station. Why don't you let adults buy marijuana?
Ice Pyro says he's fine. It's only a 6-hour drive to any border.
Oof. Look, again, Kansas and Missouri. I do want to thank you again for not being Texas. I can't stress enough how cool it is. I think that you're not Texas. But Missouri, I can buy a bottle of wine and cigarettes like anywhere I want. You guys can also just sell weed recreationally. And then Kansas, listen, Missouri, you got the leg up on Missouri on this one. I want a 2-mile stretch down state line. Or maybe, you know what? Nope, time out. I'm changing the layout. Every few miles down state line, on the Kansas side, you've got just a full-on sports book. I don't know why it has to be a brick-and-mortar sports book every 2 miles, but you got one. Directly across the street from it, got a dispensary. Full on. However, you can, the aesthetics of these is up to you. You can have one that feels like a casino in Vegas, and then a dispensary that looks like an Apple store. I don't care. And then your next sports book can look like a futuristic VR experience. It can be across from a dispensary that's currently being worked by Shaggy from Scooby-Doo behind the counter. I'm good, whatever you want to do. But every mile down state line, I want the Kansas side to have a full-on sports book and the Missouri side to have a full-on dispensary. And this is how we're going to unite into Kansuri. Nope, that sounds too much like cancer. Moses.
Mocan.
Mocan's a thing we already say. It would make sense for us to use that. I think our new super state is called Moses.
Ice Pyro says, though, you can open carry a sword, though, so who's winning?
Also, Wallaby says the only redeeming part of Texas is the speed limit, 80 miles an hour to get you out of there ASAP. Here's my next offer. All along state line, that's dispensaries on the Missouri side and sports betting on the Kansas side, no speed limit.
And you can carry a sword wherever you please.
As long as you're holding it out the window like you're jousting. Don't let go. You're driving at 95 miles an hour with a sword out the window. And to be clear, gambling on your phone while driving or being high while driving, both still illegal. I'm responsible. I'm not saying that we just make this freaking Lord of the Flies out here. I'm not saying we gotta turn these swords against each other.
This isn't Oregon. We're civilized.
I'm just saying abolish speed limits and line the entire Mocan border with sports books and dispensaries. And look, here's the thing. Hey, everybody, if you don't want to bet on sports or you don't like weed, that's fine. Just don't live on the zipper, which is what I'm going to call it now, because you're going to have the Google Map dots all the way down. It's going to look like a zipper between Kansas and Missouri. Zip. Unzip it, zip it up. It's up to you. But I have just united two states into one super powerful state, which I'm probably not going to call Kansuri, and I'm probably not going to call Moses. So,
Well, but think about it.
Mocan.
What did Moses do?
Wow.
He parted the sea.
He parted the sea.
What is that part?
We're uniting the
State line.
We're uniting the state. Parting the seas, uniting the state. You know, also a big part in that time biblically, it was a big thing. Stoning was a huge deal. Come to Moses. Gamble, get stoned. That's going to be really confusing for a ton of people.
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
The NASCAR Cup Series.
Kyle Busch will pull away by a car length over Larson.
Heads to Kansas Speedway.
Kyle Larson looking in the rearview mirror says, I need to get out of here, and I need to get out of here quick.
For a showdown in the Sunflower State.
3 wide from third on back as up front, here comes Kyle Busch. He's going to steal it this afternoon in Kansas.
It's the Advent Health 400.
Live coverage from Kansas Speedway begins Sunday at 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey, Kansas City, Stephen St. John here. Don't go through another summer with that awful joint pain. Call QC Kinetics now. That pain in your back, your knees, your shoulder, it can now be treated with the latest in precision medicine using natural biologics, growth factors that can restore and repair damaged tissue. Really exciting stuff here. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving you access right here to this modern-day joint pain solution. You can get lasting joint pain relief with no drugs, no steroids, no downtime, and no surgery. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics can help you get your life back. Take action now. Get a free consultation. Powerful, effective joint pain treatments with natural biologics are here. Call QC Kinetics now, 816-412-6299, off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics.
If you've been dreaming of a new outdoor living area for your family to enjoy all year long, Summit Lawn and Landscape can help you design and build it. Paved and stone patios, outdoor kitchens, fire pits, outdoor fireplaces, landscape lighting, and retaining walls. Extend the comfort of your home outside with a new inviting and relaxing addition to your home. Sit by a fire, relax under the stars. Whatever you envision, Summit Lawn and Landscape can help. Call Summit Lawn and Landscape at 816-966-9434 or summitlawn.com.
Spring, the sound of birds in the trees, the smell of fresh cut grass, and new decks being built, and new deck builders from all over town heading for Kansas City Deck Supply. Experts say that when you add a deck to your home, you'll recoup a higher percentage of your investment at sale time than any other improvement you can make. More than a kitchen, even more than a bathroom. Check out the near zero maintenance and stain-resistant materials from TimberTech. TimberTech decking is outdoor living without limits, the quality and appearance you demand at a price you can afford. Get to Kansas City Deck Supply now for everything you need to build a better deck.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
The first commandment of Almost Entirely Sports is, thou shalt abandon all pre-planned material in favor of the best possible radio show.
It's going to be a big tablet if this is the first one.
Well, we're going to edit it down later. The second commandment is, thou shalt respect the nonsense. The third commandment, I think, is, thou shalt talk Chiefs when there's any possible reason to.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
We'll fulfill that third commandment in about 20 minutes with Kent Swanson of KC Sports Network. He'll join us then. Just before the show, you heard the end of Celtics Bucks, which was absolutely a barn burner at the end. Drew Holiday just took that game away from the Celtics. That was on here a little bit ago. Right now, Warriors and Grizzlies is going on. Ja Morant out, might be out the remainder of the playoffs. And let's just check the score. The Grizzlies are up 68-46 with 2 minutes left in the first half.
It's the thing that genuinely makes no sense because the Grizzlies were like this all year.
Yeah.
They were a more talented
statistically
team
better without Ja Morant.
He's clearly their best player.
Clearly.
They're a more talented team with him.
He's incredible.
But their numbers are just better when he doesn't play. And it makes no sense to me. I don't know if it's the rest of that team just isn't built to maybe play at his pace. But I don't know, right? Like, it just might be one of the things that just doesn't make sense. There is no explanation. It's just sports. It's weird sometimes.
It doesn't make any sense. And part of me, maybe this is just me being a hater for no reason, part of me thinks like, wow, what a great coaching job to get better than previous performance when you lose Ja Morant. And part of me thinks like, what a bad GMing job if this is legit. Like, because if this was legitimate, I guess trade Ja for the farm and then just build a super team, I guess, behind your perfect little detailed group of B squatters like Steven Adams.
It just makes
Memphis Grizzly.
It just makes no sense.
Regardless, I hope that series goes 7. I hope the Grizzlies win that series because I do need to talk at least briefly about Suns Mavs. I believe the last time that I talked significantly about Suns Mavs on this show, I went on a brief soliloquy to explain how I felt bad for people who had not yet had the experience to root for Chris Paul on their basketball team. And then he forgot how to play basketball after I said all that.
My 2-time MVP would never.
Well, he's not playing basketball at this point in the season.
I'll let you finish your Chris Paul thing, but I have a pretty good Jokic comparison that even to the Suns, I think you'll enjoy.
Well, so here's the thing from last night, and also Chris Paul's put up three straight stinkers. 2 of them were in Dallas, and then again last night. It was just, he was not a productive player. He does some things within the flow of the offense or whatever, but like it got to the point where consistently I was like, I'd just rather let Devin Booker close this game out. Chris Paul turned 37 and on his birthday he played a stinker of a game, and then he did it again, and then he did it again. I don't know if he signed the deal with the devil that would only make him good at basketball through the age of 36, and he just forgot about that clause kicking in, or if he is injured, or if he, because he's 37, just can't do it at that level consistently. But if that's the case, Monty Williams should have pulled him a lot earlier last night because they ended up winning this game by 30. I don't know. I am a bit befuddled by all of that, but the Mavs are up 3 at the end of the first quarter. It looked worse than that for a good chunk of the first quarter. I will tell you, during the first quarter last night, the Brisco basement vibes were bad. Bad. There are some texts between me and friend of the show, Scott Chasen, and some texts between me and friend of mine, Darren, Basement Darren, as he's been referred to on this show for a number of years now, I guess. We're all Suns fans. There are some texts of concern. And I'm not going to say that for the second consecutive rough stretch of playoff basketball, Scott and I have texted about the Suns trading for Ben Simmons. But I'm not going to tell you we haven't done that 2 years in a row. When it gets dark, it gets dark. And I was talking to somebody else today actually about this. There is not a more childlike nor a more irrational or perhaps a more honest sports relationship I have anywhere in my life right now than I do with the Phoenix Suns. And it's part of the reason that I enjoy talking about them on here, but like I don't really care to have on like a Suns reporter or something who I follow them on Twitter and I read their work and I enjoy their work. But it is a place for me where I can talk about the Phoenix Suns totally irrationally, and it's not going to damage anyone listening right now. You might just wish I would stop talking about a basketball team you don't care about. Totally understand that.
Or just basketball in general, because
sure, yeah,
the city is weird with the NBA sometimes.
Yeah, it super is. But for me personally, if the only thing you take away from this is this, let it be this. Me experiencing back-to-back years of deep playoff runs by the Suns after the year before a playoff-ish experience with them going undefeated in the bubble, that whole experience that roped me back into a team that had just hurt me for a very long time, that experience helps me understand you, the person listening to this show, a little better. I mean that, like, dead honest. Because I grew up rooting for the Chiefs. I really enjoy, I do care about this football team, and I want them to be good, both from some, like, child's, like, seed planted, and also because I just think they're more fun to talk about when they're good. Like, I'm not ever going to tell you I'm not rooting for the Chiefs to win. I totally am. But they are such an enormous part of what is also my job now that it's just different. I don't even know that it's better or worse. I am much smarter about how the Chiefs operate than I am about how the Suns operate. But the Suns, I don't have to. I don't care. So I want to be a little smarter about some of those things. I like learning, and I like sports on that level. But in fact, maybe I'm even selling myself short. I enjoy reading Suns stuff. I enjoy knowing more. I could literally go through this entire lineup to players that you did not know were on the Phoenix Suns. I could tell you something fun about them or a reason that I have some opinion about them. But no other sport gets me to a place where in the first quarter I am screaming obscenities at my television in the direction of Luka Doncic, who I happen to adore in a vacuum. But during a Mavs Suns game, I want to throw him into the vacuum of space, never to be heard from again. That is deeply broken and irrational and unhelpful.
This is me with Kentucky football. Like, that's how I get with Kentucky. Like, I am at the edge, literally, of the seat, right?
Yes.
Like, yelling on every play is the biggest play.
Right.
Because it's the same thing, right? Like, I enjoy, like, the joke of talking about kind of like Kentucky on here, but I don't really want, like, a Kentucky person, right? Like,
you don't really want to go through their their recruiting class.
Yeah, like, it is truly a fan, and so are the Denver Nuggets. I think Kentucky football, part of it is just it's football, right? So you just get a little bit more into it. 12 games a year, right? It's just easier. There's just a little bit more intensity to that.
Yes.
But man, yeah, I mean that like it's fun having a team where you can be like that, or like I enjoy watching Everton soccer. We're going through a relegation battle right now. I think we're gonna be safe. We beat Chelsea, beat Leicester, like 3 points clear with like 2 games to go. I think
that's an intense spot.
I think we're gonna be safe, but it is a scary spot to be in.
Yeah, I think that it's good for us in the media to have something like that, because it is just a different feeling, and I'm sure that I will go back to appreciating Luka again next year after the Suns rip his heart out and make him eat it, which is what he deserves because he's a big baby. And I'm a well-adjusted human being most of the time outside of this particular context. And I hate Luka Doncic!
At JB Briscoe, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already.
Kansas City, spring is here. Don't waste your valuable time working outside on your lawn and landscape this year. Hire the professionals at Summit Lawn and Landscape. From mowing and fertilization programs, mulching and shrub trimming, to complete landscaping and sprinkler system design, install, and service, Summit Lawn and Landscape can do it all. Spring is here, so don't delay. Use who Sports Radio 810 uses for all of our outdoor needs. Call Summit Lawn and Landscape at 816-966-9434 or submit a bid request online at summitlawn.com.
Today on Hey Culligan, soft water, cleaner environment. What do you say, Greg?
Hey Culligan, are you saying if I have a Culligan high-efficiency water softener, I'm also helping the environment?
It sounds like you're saying it, Greg, and yes, you are, because with the Culligan high-efficiency water softener, you'll use less detergent, soap, and harsh chemicals, and that's good for the planet.
Now you're saying it.
You bet I am, Greg. Soft water and a cleaner environment is already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Spring, the sound of birds in the trees, the smell of fresh cut grass, and new decks being built, and new deck builders from all over town heading for Kansas City Deck Supply. Experts say that when you add a deck to your home, you'll recoup a higher percentage of your investment at sale time than any other improvement you can make. More than a kitchen, even more than a bathroom. Check out the near zero maintenance and stain resistant materials from TimberTech. TimberTech decking is outdoor living without limits, the quality and appearance you demand at a price you can afford. Get to Kansas City Deck Supply now for everything you need to build a better deck.
The NASCAR Cup Series
Kyle Busch will pull away by a car length over Larson.
heads to Kansas Speedway.
Kyle Larson, looking in the rearview mirror, says, I need to get out of here, and I need to get out of here quick.
For a showdown in the Sunflower State.
3 wide from third on back as up front, here comes Kyle Busch. He's going to steal it this afternoon in Kansas.
It's the Advent Health 400.
Live coverage from Kansas Speedway begins Sunday at 2 on Sports Radio 810 WHB. You can keep your grass green and lush all year long with a new sprinkler system from Summit Lawn and Landscape. Call Summit Lawn and Landscape today at 816-966-9434 to design a water-efficient system for your home and never drag a hose again. 816-966-9434. Summit Lawn and Landscape provides complete lawn maintenance including mowing, fertilization, and landscape installation, maintenance, and design. Call 816-966-9434 or go to summitlawn.com.
Are you ready to find out who the Kansas City Chiefs will be playing in the 2021 NFL season? Good, the wait is almost over. Starting Thursday night at 6:45, we'll be live to preview, see, and break down the 2021 NFL schedule for all 32 teams, but especially the Kansas City Chiefs. That all starts on the NFL Schedule Release Special Show starting at 6:45 tonight on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Presented by Tickets for Less. If you're looking for tickets to this season's must-see Chiefs games, then check out the great selection and prices at ticketsforless.com.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Insider information from, I'm going to guess David on Twitter. Mr. C. David. In fact, this is the guy that last week said that I'm the most annoying person he's ever heard on the radio. He is converted, man. Talking about Mormonism, he's now converted to the religion of Almost Entirely Sports.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
You may have heard the promo. We'll have a schedule release special tomorrow night here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, going through every step of the Chiefs' schedule to unveil who they're playing, when they're playing them, and all of that. So we'll have that tomorrow night here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll have Kent Swanson joining us here in just a few minutes. Rudy, we ran out of time last segment. What was your Nikola Jokic comparison?
Yeah, so I was some of this stemmed from obviously I think it was yesterday more me and Beards where I was just joking about like he was like, oh, Jokic should go to the Celtics. I'm like, yeah, cool, I'll trade him for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Like, and it's just like part of it, right? It's like there's a joke in there, and then just like I'm driving up here to back to the city today, just heads going through my mind, and just like, oh, I could see Beards being like, man, you would trade Jokic for players? Like, yeah, because like the reality is like guards just have a bigger impact. Like, right, like every time we watch it, right, like Devin Booker, I mean, like Giannis is a little bit different because he's a guard and a center and all that stuff in one. And then I just got to thinking, just like, okay, hey, Jokic is the 2-time MVP, and it's amazing. And it's not necessarily because he's the most talented player on the court, right? Like you watch guys like Giannis, even LeBron still. There are other guys who are just freaks, right?
Right.
He just does it in a way that is so efficient. Like he's obviously insanely skilled. He's just not nearly as athletic as some of these other guys, but his skill level is crazy. And obviously just leads to hey, man, it's just disappointing that Jokic's 2 MVP seasons, Jamal Murray did not play in the playoffs. I'd love to have Michael Porter Jr. for both. Here's the thing. Michael Porter Jr. was healthy all year. I think the Nuggets are a 4 or 5 seed. I think they win in the first round of the playoffs. And then I think they're playing the Suns in the second round of the playoffs again. And we all know how that went last year without Jamal Murray, right? Like we've just seen that story. So I don't think it really changes much of anything. And then it got me thinking just about like, I don't know exactly how this all clicked, but I was like, are the Nuggets just basically going through the little Suns run, but the difference being like Jokic is Steve Nash with just back-to-back, maybe most efficient seasons we've seen in NBA history, that least MVPs. The difference being is that Steve Nash had Amari Stoudemire, and Jokic's Amari Stoudemire's just been hurt the last 2 years.
Also, both back-to-back MVPs. Also, both deserving.
Absolutely, because again, I don't think anybody would argue Steve Nash is a Hall of Fame point guard, right?
Sure. I've heard plenty of people argue that he should not have been a back-to-back MVP.
Well, but here's the thing, right? We can all, I think everybody can agree he wasn't the most talented point guard there, but he was literally doing things from an efficiency standpoint, like the 50-40-90. While it is a more common thing now, at that time, very few players had done it. It was like Larry Bird was one of the only guys who had done it, who had shot 50% from the floor, 40% from three, 90 from the line. And Steve Nash did it back-to-back years, which again at that time was unheard of. It just got me thinking, I was like, man, Jokic is just the Steve Nash of centers. They're not the most athletic. They are insanely skilled though, and they are so efficient at what they do on offense that it exceeds whatever lack of athletic ability they had.
Now, why would you say they
pretty good?
Why would you say they? Why would you say they lacked athletic ability?
It's not even man. Tyler Hero's athletic. It's not even a white thing.
Whoa, are they both white? I guess they are, huh? That's funny.
Well, they're European, so it's not the same. They don't count as white people in the NBA.
I did just pull up the MVP page. So you've got your Jokic back-to-back, and then you've got your Steve Nash back-to-back, and then in 84, 85, and 86, Larry Bird went for the three-peat. No particular reason I picked those three guys.
I'm just saying, Jokic and Steve Nash, Jokic just might be the Steve Nash of centers. I feel like it's not bad.
I gotta think about this, man. I don't know.
think it's terrible.
I don't think it's terrible either, but I also could not let you make that comparison without pointing out one of their aesthetic similarities, is what I'll say. Just aesthetically speaking.
You think Jokic only won MVP because he's white? It's fine.
That's not what I said. I think he would have won one. I think he would have won one of them if he was white.
It's fine.
He's
literally having the most efficient season in NBA history. It's whatever.
Here's my thing. I was actually legitimately surprised. I did think that Embiid was probably going to win it.
Absolutely.
Just because I think we typically like giving it to different guys.
And
but
he
it's
is
funny.
deserving of it. He's been deserving of it each of the last 2 years.
But here's kind of the wild thing. So you got Jokic back-to-back, Giannis back-to-back, Harden, Westbrook, Curry back-to-back, Durant, LeBron back-to-back, Derrick Rose, LeBron back-to-back, Kobe, Dirk, Steve Nash back-to-back, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan back-to-back, and then you finally don't have another back-to-back champion until you get back to Jordan in the early 90s and then Magic before that. It just, I don't know. I think I would have assumed that there were not that many back-to-back champions because it's kind of fun to crown a different MVP each year. But historically, that really has not been something that we've shied away from.
NBA loves repeats.
I guess they do.
Titles.
Just sort of
MVPs.
odd. With titles, you get it because you're sort of becoming a villain.
Players.
But I figured they would have spread around a little bit. Did you see the video of Jokic getting the award, by the way?
I haven't seen it yet, actually. I forgot about I meant to watch it, completely forgot about it.
No bleep. He's being pulled by a horse at the beginning of the video. There's my promise to you. Kent Swanson's next.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Love fade, shoot.